The biggest mistake one can make is confusing happiness with joy because they might look the same or you can use them interchangeably, but they are not the same. A simple practical example so you understand this illusion of happiness. You see this bowl with this water. Take this as this is your mind. This is you as a person. Not literally you though, but this is your state of mind. Now you see how this water is calm and still. This whole effect is because you have peace of mind, you have joy, and you're stable as a human being, a normal human being. Now, this is what happiness looks like. See how everything is so calm. Something happens, right? You got a new phone. You see those ripples that happens, and that is the happiness you feel. But one thing you will notice at the end of the day, this will still go back to its original state, which is calm. So if you are to look out, pursue happiness, it means you always need to be hitting the next thing like this, just like this. And how can you sustain this? This is insatiable. You see why this is an illusion? The only thing you should pursue, right? Have peace of mind, look for joy. And joy is not something you can find. Joy is a fruit of the spirit, right? It comes based on salvation. It comes even in trouble. You can have joy and peace of mind because it is not of you. It is of the fruit of spirit. It is given by God. So once you have joy in your spirit, this is how you operate. You're calm. Even in storm, you're calm. But if you're looking for happiness, you're looking for the next dopamine hit. The next dopamine hit. So happiness is like this. And it's fleeting. And at the end of the day, the happiness weighs off and you go back to the normal state. Happiness is an emotion. Joy is a gift of the spirit because you can feel joy in your soul. But happiness is on the outer, it's more of like on the outer flesh. It's an outer layer feeling. It is just a fraction. It's not sustainable. You can be happy right now, and the next minute you can just be sad. And you might not be happy, but it doesn't mean you're sad. Because when you're using happiness, happiness is fleeting. It is not always, you can't feel happy all throughout 24 hours. But joy is of the spirit. So once you're able to understand that they are different, you begin to see clarity, right? Because do you know what it means to be happy? Like happy all throughout your life? It's if you think of it this way, right? You can be happy right now and you can maintain that happiness. Let's say someone gives you a present or you get a gift, automatically, if that gift is something you really like, you can there's this outburst of happiness in your spirit, in your mind. You just feel happy naturally. But over time, right, there comes you notice there's a depreciation in that feeling at the later end of that feeling, you start expressing gratitude. You're always gratitude. You're just always grateful for that gift you received. But you cannot sustain happiness. You cannot hold on to happiness. You cannot feel happiness the same way all throughout a day, even all throughout your life. Because even when you do your own research, right, you get to understand that there are two kinds of happiness, right? The major one we all classify and we think this is the key one is the hedonic happiness. This is happiness that are fleeting, that just comes in the moment. In a particular scenario, you feel happy for something that has just happened and you're happy about that stuff. But you know that thing has happened, but over time, that thing won't keep happening. It's not recurring. So over time, that happiness will deflate. And it doesn't mean you are sad. That is the thing. Then the other kind of happiness is the idiomonic happiness. And this is the happiness that comes, it's a long time happiness, meaning you need to put in work in your life for you to feel this. And for you to understand that this second kind of happiness, it's something you call fulfillment. It's when you are fulfilled. And this is also classified as when you have fulfillment in life based on things you've done or things you've been able to achieve throughout the course of your life. When you look back at your life and you're very fulfilled of You're fulfilled based on what you've been able to accomplish, what you've been able to achieve over time. And this requires work. Now, if you're to bring the second classification of happiness based on what you can check it on your Google, just check the two types of happiness. You're going to see that the second happiness, right? If you're to put that happiness, like stand it side by side with fulfillment, you will notice they are not the same. The second happiness is a byproduct of work you have put in your life. That is the only time you get to feel that. And it is not you being happy. It's a byproduct of you putting in work, you being the best you can be in life, you impacting nations, you giving value to the world. When you feel fulfilled in life, that is when you get a byproduct of that happiness. But in all, right, happiness is not something you should be pursuing in life. Like you want to be happy, you want to be happy because now for you to maintain. Now let us take it down to the way you we all relate with happiness. If happiness is a feeling you feel at a particular moment, can you hold on to that feeling throughout the day? For instance, let's do an example. You got a new phone right now, and you're happy that you've gotten that phone. Most people, that feeling wears off within, some people is within that same day, some people it takes 2 days, some people it takes even weeks. But the thing is that you cannot maintain that happiness of purchasing a new thing because those are just, it's more of like an emotion spike, just like an hormone, like when your system is secreting hormones, like the feel good hormone. So that is just the thing. Happiness is not something we should go and you want to do everything because you want to be happy. There are some days you wake up, you just wake up, right? You're not literally sad, and you are not, you can't say you're not sad, right? But you just go about your life. But the major thing you appreciate more in life is peace, peace of the heart. When your mind is at peace, you're not looking over your shoulder, you're fine, your mind is at peace. This is the major thing we, like everyone prioritizes. But you don't confuse having peace of mind with happiness because you can wake up today, you might not be happy, like excited, but you just have peace in your mind. You're stable, you're balanced. That is what it means to go throughout life. But happiness comes based on, there need to be an action for you to feel happiness. And once the action happens, you feel happiness for a certain period of time, that happiness goes down. Now you fall back to your base, which is peace of mind. Now, for those the spiritual types, now we have the fruit of the spirit, which is called joy. That's the joy of God which supersedes all things. That is the joy you get from having Christ in your life. So what happens is that you just feel joy. Even when you're in big problems, you just have joy. Now the average person gets to have peace of mind, but you have peace of mind and you have joy, which is a fruit of the spirit. So happiness is not something, if I would advise anyone, you shouldn't go throughout your life in search of happiness. Happiness is not something you can get. And even if you get happiness, you can't hold it. You can't you can't keep it for too long because it's it's always like this. Things needs to be happening. And before you know, you start running a rat race, meaning you're looking for the next hit that will spike that happiness. You're looking for the next thing. Some people will even go into all kinds of things. Some people you can get your happiness from just getting things, buying, purchasing things. Or some people they go into all kind of immoralities just to spike that happiness. Happiness is a trap. It's a trap. If you are to bank on happiness, bank on the other kind of happiness which gives you fulfillment. Bank on the other kind of happiness that gives you fulfillment. And that is the happiness that works closely called, that's the happiness we call the eudaimonic happiness. If you look it up on Google, it says it's the fulfillment found in pursuing long term goals, living with purpose, and doing meaningful works. If you're to even look at happiness, that is the happiness you should emulate for. And also for you to achieve this happiness, you can't still pursue this happiness. You need to provide. You need to be valuable. You need to do things. You need to conquer territory. You need to have lived a life, a meaningful life. It's not about getting the whole billions. No. You need to have lived a life that is worth celebrating. People can resonate with your life. Your life has really given an impact. Then you feel fulfilled. And once you're fulfilled, what comes with it is the byproduct of happiness, byproduct of satisfaction, byproduct of love, byproduct of recognition. Happiness is a byproduct, but it's not something you can chase on your own.